as we get closer, we'll obviously look at it to see what we need to amend.
But the initial estimate is, I don't know how much extra, if you want to call it, is in the operating budget. But if the operating budget is close to a true amount, now you're going to take another $15,000 out of it that maybe is not there.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I think because these numbers were already in place before the road committee got us their budget numbers. If I'm not mistaken, the second priority project, which was a portion of Stoneham again,
right, the next year,
and Mountain Road,
yeah, I believe so,
was way lower. That was a little lower than the Lyford Road project.
I don't think it was way lower. I think it was 75 range. But
yeah, and if we were to take those two projects and just switch them in place, so 2012 becomes 2013, 2013 becomes 2012, it would be a more easier obtainable goal. And I think on the the Stoneham and the Lyford one, if you came in and split those and didn't do both roads that same year, I think one of them actually comes in very close to $60,000.
Another thing you're running into, Tom, is the road committee recommends to the selectmen, but the selectmen have to decide. And the way this warrant article is written, it says for the major repair of town roads. So we have the flexibility that if the numbers aren't going to work here within our budget, we can move over there.
You also have to keep in mind he had a 2% cost increase every year after that. If it is 90 for Lyford, the next year it's not going to be 90, it's going to be 95. So you're putting it off this year, but you're going to pay more next year.
Well, to be honest, I understand Lyford Road needs some attention, but I don't see Lyford Road in as bad a shape as Stoneham Road is. I mean, they're pouring cold patch into Stoneham Road, and trying to stop the potholes from growing. So that road really needs some attention. I think the complaint on Lyford Road is there's a couple of swales down the pathways.
You should walk the road.
Huh?
Walk the road. The edges are getting bad. It's not going to get any better.
Well, I can show you 7 other roads in town that have the same edging problem.
Right.
But the point is we feel comfortable with the numbers right now, and we have the flexibility to make adjustments depending on the cost. If projection gets off the charts, we'll just do a different length of a different road. Yeah. Just like we did about 2,000 feet of Stoneham Road and plus 400 up on Tibbetts. That brought us in actually 10,000 under budget. We didn't expect that.
And this may come in under budget.
So that's where we're at. And we feel comfortable with the figure of the 75,000. We've been able to get a lot done with that number.
So if you want to bump up the number to 70,000, that keeps us under the budget from last year. I have a hard time increasing my budget number. I don't want the budget to grow. That's my problem.
No, I agree with you, and I'm still saying warrant article 5 could read 60,000 because we have.
I'll do what I did. Warrant article 6.
No, 6 is what we're going to spend.
Right.
And that should say 75.
That's the one I'm questioning.
No, that's how this all started. They started this on this very same reason.
Last year we spent 75,000 and only put 50,000 into the ridge the road and bridge repair fund.
Right.
And with the thought process, because when it was brought up last year, and he questioned me on it, we had told him that this year we would put more into the budget, into the trust fund than we were going to remove. And now you want to do the opposite. You want to remove. You want to spend more than we put in.
Actually, I wrote to 75, but that's okay.
Well, I have no problem. We can make it 75, but 15,000 has to come out of somewhere.
I just don't want to. I would like to see a lower budget for next year.
May we back up for 1 second?
Yes.
Sure.
Is there one number that we agree with, that it's spending,
Number
or what we're going
6.
to put in? Number 6, we agree on 75. We don't agree on. Oh, did we agree on either one of these?
Number 5, I agree with.
Number 5, to see if the town will vote and appropriate the sum. We will spend $75,000.
No.
No, we're gonna put 75,000 into the road and bridge repair fund.
That goes into your pocket.
That goes into the capital
All
reserve
right,
fund.
which number is that on this sheet?
5.
No,
No,
on
it's
that,
5 on this.
4915.
4915.
It's the 75 there.
It's the transfer to capital reserve.
That's the putting
So
it
it's
in.
warrant article number,
Yeah.
5.
number 5. So we're putting 75 in. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But the budget that you got proposed there, it's only 60.
No, we have proposed 75 to go in. We only proposed to spend 60.
Oh.
That's where the drawback is here.
Okay.
I jumped the gun, I hit the wrong warrant article when he read number 5.
Okay. Now I
So-
think we're all on the same page now, I think.
Right, so now we're talking about warrant article 6 and line item 4904.500.
Which did have 60,000.
Right. That's the expenditure line.
Right.
So, my question is, I have no problem with 60 as long as we take the, whatever, say the project cost 80, we take the other 20 from capital reserve.
Can't.
Can't.
Well, yes you can, you can write, you can up the number, take it out. Why could you write a warrant article to take 20,000 and add it to it, or whatever?
Well, you can. He did it right there.
75, but maybe we'll have to do more. Maybe we're putting in 60, but we're taking out 85. What's wrong with that?
The idea was not to bring our road and bridge repair fund under $100,000. The reason being is if we have an emergency, say we have another 100-year flood, and we have major damages to our roads, we can actually petition the state to allow us to tap into that reserve fund, that capital reserve fund, to pay for those repairs instead of having it all come out of our operating budget. Otherwise, it all has to come out of our operating budget to repair the roads, and therefore we have to sacrifice services somewhere else within that year.
Yeah. Basically, it falls on the taxpayer to pay for it, but the taxpayers have already set aside monies to cover it with state authorization.
And you can't touch the reserve, once the warrant articles are in and voted on, you can't touch what's left in the account until the next town meeting and it's voted on again by the people.
I don't want our budget to increase.
Comment?
Yes, sir.
Shouldn't you / we be looking at the projects over the next 4 or 5 years, see what the average cost is that we have to put away, so that at the end of 4 or 5 years we come out at 0, and not just what's next year and what's next year. But you're trying to take the spikes out. So
Yeah, but the problem with that is you don't know what the financial status is going to be from year to year. You don't know what the costs are going to be from year to year. We could project that right now we could project, even with a 2% increase, that our projects are going to cost, say on the average, $80,000 over the next 5 years, each year that we do a project. So we start planning and putting aside that kind of money every year for those projects, which means basically we're going to request $80,000 from the public, and we're going to spend that $80,000 on the roads.
that assumes every year you're going to spend 80,000. But I
Right.
heard you say there's going to be peaks and valleys. So don't you want to smooth those out?
Well, we've been shooting for the 75,000.
75,000 was our smooth line. That's where we originally had said we were going to spend $75,000 a year to upgrade our roads,
What we
So-
did
so that's
last
on
year.
average.
on average.
So then to Bill's point, if you're going to spend 80, you got to take 20 out of the capital reserve. If you're spending
Well, we're already taking, well, the idea was we're already tapping the capital reserve for 60,000
With voter approval.
with voter approval.
No, wait a minute.
if you're planning
That's right. That's right.
and your horizon is more than 1 year, maybe 5 years, and you're going to try to smooth out these spikes, You're not gonna try to smooth out the spikes.
We've been using the 75 and using the O&M fund for our road maintenance
So
to
then
pick up
you're-
the slack. Or
so-
this year, we finished up with 10,000 extra, which we'll use to buy down your taxes next.
No, it stays in the unreserved fund, it stays in the capital reserve fund.
Therefore, your variable is
It's
not
there
what
in
you're gonna
capital.
save, it's gonna be what you're gonna spend.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine. So you're fixed on your savings, the variable is what you're gonna spend.
But if we just save 10,000, then we don't need to put the full amount in, do we? Because it stays in that fund.
If we put in whatever amount we put into the fund, we can take out a totally different amount.
Yes,
Yes.
You can take 150,000 out.
How much is in the fund?
It's over $100,000.
just over 100,000.
I thought it was more than just over.
I don't know how to say this. The numbers in the town report are questioned. The numbers that we were given by the trust, the trustees of the trust funds don't add up. And we've asked them about them. I believe the number is, the bottom line, the total number is correct, which is 128,000 that's still in the capital reserve. But until I get those numbers back from him this year, and we know what our monies are, which they should be coming anytime, then I'll actually have the true balance.
But because we came in under budget this year, we put an extra 10,000 in there, why don't we reduce that warrant article number 5? You could make it 65, and we still come in under last year's budget. Just a thought. What do you think, Bill?
My concern is how much do you plan to spend for the project? I don't care where you get the money from, except for maybe
75,000 out of the capital reserve fund. If we need a little more, we'll have to look at what's available in the O&M to see if we can cover it and still meet the maintenance needs of the roads. And remember, we reduced his budget this year.
I wish we had the figures from that when we met. And when we had that.
I'm not really comfortable with those figures.
With the towns,
No, the road committee's
Yeah.
figures tend to be a little high.
so what you're saying is drop number 5 by 10,000
Yeah, and leave
and leave
number
6 at 75,
Right.
which then means our budget would increase by a total of $5,000.
Right.
So we would be at 165,437.
Which only puts us about 8,000 under budget
From last year's budget.
from last year's budget. But we're still under.
I can live with that.
Bill?
All right, so for warrant article number 5 is going to change to
65.
65.
65.
Taking notes, Mary Lou?
Yeah.
And
'Cause I
warrant
heard-
number
No.
6 is going to change to,
It just stays at
It
75.
stays at 70, well, on your page, it's gonna change from 60 to 75,000.
So line item number 4904500 goes from 60,000 to 75,000. And line item number 4915201 goes from 75,000 to 65,000.
Correct.
Which gives us a new total of $765,437.
437.
so we're taking 10 more from these, basically, for the
Okay.
reserve.
We're just not gonna put, no, we're not actually, yeah, we're not gonna put 10,000 into the capital reserve fund, but we're gonna withdraw
75. That's
75.
what I wanted from the
Okay.
beginning, thank you.
Good, we can
It
turn it
took
over.
an hour to do that, but that's all right.
And then we're gonna,
We can
then we'll,
turn it over
then we'll
and do the
tweak,
rest of the page.
and then we'll tweak the road committee's
Okay, that's fine.
report and